Just as in World War II, today patriotic American workers are building the arsenal of democracy and serving the cause of freedom.
U.S. President Joe Biden wants the United States to once again become the, quote, arsenal of democracy. And it's going to take a lot of taxpayer money, more than $105 billion to start, to be exact. The latest foreign aid package from the White House features requests to send $61.4 billion to Ukraine and $14.3 billion to the latest conflict zone, Israel's war against Hamas. The package also comes with a little more than $9 billion in humanitarian assistance for the two wars, as well as other hotspots. This all follows the Biden administration previously announcing $100 million in humanitarian assistance for Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank.
We must be the great arsenal of democracy. For us, this is an emergency as serious as war itself.
For each fiscal year, the federal government allocates billions in U.S. dollars to assist countries with their economic, national security, and humanitarian needs. In fact, America does so more than any other country, serving as the world's largest provider of official development assistance. From fiscal year 2012 to 2022, the U.S. agreed to pay more than $598 billion and counting in foreign assistance to partner nations around the world. Just more than half of Americans tend to feel the U.S. spends, quote, too much on aid to other countries. That's according to surveys from 1971 to 2020, with sample sizes ranging from around 1,300 to 4,500 respondents. The total amount represents a small fraction of federal spending, making up less than 5% of discretionary spending and around 1% of the entire federal budget for each of the past 5 completed fiscal years.
Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way.
In the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Ukraine has been the top beneficiary of U.S. aid by a long shot. The U.S. has committed more than $43.9 billion to the country in security assistance. When factoring in economic and humanitarian assistance, the aid has increased to more than $75 billion, according to the latest figures published by the Kiel Institute for the World Economy. It's provided more than 3 times more assistance than Ukraine's second biggest donor, Germany. This marks the first time a European nation claimed the top spot in U.S. aid since the Truman administration, which provided Europe with billions in aid for post-World War II recovery and sought to, quote, contain Soviet expansion. That era's Marshall Plan institutionalized the concept of U.S. foreign aid programs.
The signing of this act is a momentous occasion in the world's quest for enduring peace. This measure is America's answer to the challenge facing the free world today.
Among periods where U.S. aid was highest since 1960, 2022's aid to Ukraine made up the largest share of U.S. gross domestic product at 0.33%. And what's behind that as the second largest share of U.S. GDP since 1960? The amount of money the U.S. gave Israel in 1979, a country the U.S. has supported for 75 years.
I have tried to convince in the past Prime Minister Begin of the good intentions of President Sadat and vice versa. When there has been no progress being made, the United States has taken the initiative. Now that progress is being made, a proper role for the United States is to support that progress and to give the credit to the strong leadership that's already been exhibited by Prime Minister Begin and President Sadat, and to let our nation be used as called upon to expedite the peace process.
The Biden administration has also made efforts to strengthen ties with both Palestine and Israel, announcing in 2021 that it would restart U.S. aid to Palestinians after then-President Donald Trump cut off funding in 2018. The administration's move included sending $75 million in economic and development assistance to the West Bank and Gaza, $10 million for peace-building programs through the U.S. Agency for International Development, and $150 million for the UN Relief Agency for Palestinian Refugees, known as UNRWA. Prior to President Trump's cutoff, bilateral assistance to Palestinians since 1994 has totaled more than $5 billion, with contributions to the UNRWA since 1950 being even higher at more than $6 billion. Israel, by contrast, gets exponentially more funding from the U.S. On top of President Biden's recent $14.3 billion request to Israel, the U.S. has sent $158 billion in assistance to the country since its creation in 1948. This makes Israel the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. foreign assistance of any country since World War II.
I think there's much more support for Israel, for additional dollars for Israel than there is for Ukraine. You see it in a lot of the Freedom Caucus who say, I want these issues separated. I heard it yesterday, Congressman from Tennessee saying this. And so Biden and the Democrats, and I think the rational Republicans are going to say, keep them together. The argument's the same. We desperately need to get this money to these failing or these struggling democracies who are up against this discretion.
All of this monetary aid needs to go through Congress first, and the House of Representatives just got a new speaker, Representative Mike Johnson. The hard-right Republican from Louisiana has been skeptical towards sending more money to Ukraine. At the same time, he's throwing his support behind Israel during its war with Hamas.
Israel doesn't need a ceasefire. It needs its allies to cease with the politics and deliver support now. We cannot waste any time getting Israel the aid it needs. We're going to work on that.